What is going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be bantering about my top 10 starting pitchers right now. MLB Network puts this countdown together each and every single offseason, and their algorithmic system, their program called the Shredder, is the one that makes the final determination. But I encourage you, make your own list. See just how difficult it is to put together a top 10 list in Major League Baseball, especially at the position of starting pitcher. So today, we're going to be getting into my top 10 starting pitchers, beginning with number 10. Now, number 10 on my list is Nestor Cortes Jr. of the New York Yankees. Nestor has had a couple of breakout seasons in back-to-back years, none more so than in 2022. When you look at what he was able to do during the 2022 season in 158 and a third innings, had an ERA plus of 159, an ERA of 2.44, a FIP of 3.12, to go along with 163 strikeouts and a 4.2 baseball reference WAR. When you look at what Cortes was able to do, being able to kind of mix and match, change up his delivery, change up his arm angles, just kind of be a pitcher once again. Not just somebody who had tremendous velocity, because he does not have that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But what he's able to do in changing speeds, changing angles, is really start to pitch and keep hitters off balance, which is the art of pitching. To me, being able to have a guy like Nestor Cortes on the New York Yankees has really blossomed into one of the best pitchers in baseball, and the reason why he comes in at number 10 on my list. Now, number 9 on my list is Gerrit Cole of the New York Yankees. Yes, the Yankee ace has kind of fallen down a little bit in terms of my top 10 listing, coming in at number 9 this season. However, when you look at what he is capable of doing, yes, 2022 was a bugaboo for him in terms of giving up home runs, but everything else was a solid season. And I think that going into 2023, Cole is going to have the ability to bounce back in a big way. I also think that with the other moves that were made, the acquisition of Carlos Rodon to the Yankee rotation is going to give Cole a 1-2 combination to really bounce off with. I think that there's an opportunity for Gerrit Cole to become, once again, one of the top 3 best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. But for now, comes in at number 9. As we look at number 8 on my list, it is Corbin Burnes of the Milwaukee Brewers. I think that when you look at what this pitcher is capable of doing, this could be one of the very best pitchers in Major League Baseball. Just a couple of seasons ago, absolutely blistering season, winning the National League Cy Young Award. Now, when you look at what he is capable of, this is a player who is cementing that ability. When you look at his 2022 campaign, he pitched 202 innings with an ERA of 2.94, a FIP of 3.14, an ERA plus of 134 with a baseball reference WAR of 4, to go along with 243 strikeouts, which was a National League best last season. This is a player who absolutely is able to dominate the game, as evidenced by his strikeout totals. And to me, in 2023 is going to be another season for Corbin Burnes to really solidify himself as one of the 10 best pitchers in all of baseball. Now, number 7 on my list is Spencer Strider of the Atlanta Braves. Strider really had a breakout campaign in 2022. When you look at the 131 and 2/3 innings that he pitched, to an ERA of 2.67, a FIP of 1.83, with 202 strikeouts and an ERA plus of 153, to go along with a baseball reference WAR of 3.7. Yes, this is one of the best young arms in all of Major League Baseball, and he is just getting started. I think that when you look at the 2023 campaign, his age 24 season, this is a guy who, if he can continue this progress, continue this form that he has been pitching in 2022 into 2023, this is going to be a guy who really solidifies himself as one of the best pitchers in baseball, and could arguably go down as one of the best arms that the Atlanta Braves have ever produced. Now, that's saying a lot, because there have been some great arms that have come through Atlanta, but Spencer Strider could be one of the very best. As we look at number 6 on my list, it is Carlos Rodon of the New York Yankees. Yes, the new Yankee lefty is one of the 10 best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. When you look at his 2022 statistics, through the 178 innings that he pitched in last season, he had an ERA of 2.88, a FIP of 2.25, which was a National League best, and a baseball reference WAR of 5.4 with an ERA plus of 140. This is a player who is capable of doing a lot of different things. He has what he calls an angry fastball, and that's really what he has played off of since changing his ability, his changing his approach and his aggressiveness towards batters in the box with that angry fastball. This has been a player who has emerged as one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think that going into the 2023 season, Rodon is actually going to push the entire Yankee rotation to another stratosphere. And I think that it is that much more important for the Yankees to have a guy like this to be able to kind of push the rest of the rotation, to push their ace Garrett Cole to being back to being one of the very best. When you have that level of competition in-house, it makes it that much easier to be that much better against everyone else. Now, as we look at number 5 on my list, it is Max Scherzer of the New York Mets. Scherzer has been one of the best pitchers over the last decade in Major League Baseball. Very little question that this has been a pitcher who has bet on himself and has won each and every single time. I think there's an opportunity for Scherzer to kind of get back to being fully healthy, as he was limited last season to only 145 in the third innings. But in that small window compared to his normal statistics, his normal output in terms of innings pitched, he had 173 strikeouts, an ERA plus of 169 to go along with an ERA of 2.29, a FIP of 2.62. This is a guy who has tremendous ability, even though he's a little bit older now in terms of the starters in Major League Baseball and the starters on this list. I think there's no doubt about it. Scherzer is on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and the 2023 season is only going to compound and add more to those Hall of Fame statistics. As we look at number 4 on my list, it is the former number 1 Jacob deGrom. I think that for deGrom, being limited so badly over these past couple of seasons has really hindered his ability. When healthy, when pitching a regular workload throughout the season, this is without question the best pitcher in baseball. But because of having so many innings limited over the past couple of seasons, he has to fall down this list. Now, yes, could arguably and easily fall down to completely off of the list because of not pitching and the level of pitching that there is in Major League Baseball right now in starting ability and starting terms. But when you look at what he's capable of doing when he's on the mound, there's no doubt about it. Jacob deGrom deserves a spot. In 2022, it wasn't a ton of time. It was less than 70 innings of work. But we know this player's track record, and I think that if he's healthy for 2023, getting into Texas, which is going to be a lot less of a stress pressure situation than it would be in New York with the Mets, who are trying to compete for a World Series. I think that Texas, while yes, they've made a lot of moves, they've been very aggressive, and to try to push towards the postseason, I don't think that deGrom is going to be looked at and relied upon in the same exact way. So going into 2023, if he's capable of being healthy, that to me is the biggest key. If deGrom is healthy in 2023, we're going to see him jump right back up to the top of this list. But for now, he does slide just a bit into the number 4 spot. Now, coming in at number 3 on my list is the player and the pitcher who is replacing deGrom in New York, Justin Verlander. Verlander is coming off of a Cy Young winning season in 2022 with an ERA of 1.75, which was a American League best last season. But I think that when you look at what this player is capable of, this is a guy who has reinvented himself. This was a guy who was a blistering fastball, just attacking aggressive with nothing but a fastball and a curveball early in his season. Got hurt, started to have to figure out how to pitch, has now developed the ability to pitch to go along with a refound fastball. Coming into the 2022 season, we weren't sure what we were going to get from Justin Verlander, who was coming off of Tommy John in 2021. But when you look at what he is capable of, what he has shown himself to be, even as one of the older pitchers in Major League Baseball, this is no doubt about it, a Cy Young caliber pitcher, and a guy who could potentially be the number 1 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. I also think that when you look at what Verlander has proven himself to be as a competitor, that to me is the biggest driving force, is the way that Verlander goes about things, goes about his work and attacks. To me, being able to have a guy like Justin Verlander now in the Mets rotation is going to help elevate the ability of that entire team. He has that much kind of a presence, not just in the clubhouse, but in that starting rotation. when you look at what he is capable of, this is, again, like his teammate Max Scherzer, this is a Hall of Fame bound pitcher. And to me, being able to see him solidify all of that work after coming back from Tommy John in 2022 really just solidifies just how talented this player is. I think that because he had a little bit of a innings kind of bounce back in 2022, 2023 is going to be an even better season. But the level of pitching atop this list is so great that just a little bit behind in terms of innings pitched is really where he kind of limits himself on my list to number 3. Now, as we get into number 2 on my list, it is Shohei Ohtani. Now, yes, this is absolutely an incredible star. Two-way, being able to be an elite hitter and an elite pitcher is a tremendous task to be able to do. Yes, Shohei's innings are going to be limited in terms of his pitching because he does play as a DH as well. But when you look at what he is capable of on the pitching side of things, and let's just look at the 166 innings from 2022, had an ERA of 2.33, a FIP of 2.40, 219 strikeouts in those 166 innings, an ERA plus of 172, and a pitching WAR, according to Baseball Reference, of 6.2. This was one of the very best pitchers we have seen in Major League Baseball over the past couple of seasons, and seemingly continues to improve. We would see Shohei Ohtani just magically pick up a incredible two-seam sinking fastball just from watching a guy like Clay Holmes pitch. This to me is a guy who is such a student of the game and studies the way that the game is played on both sides of the ball, which makes it even more tremendous of an ability and a skill that he has. To be able to go out there and be the ace level pitcher that he is, to go out there and be the force in the middle of the order that he is as a designated hitter, just makes him a tremendous talent overall. I think there is a ability that he has to continue to grow, to continue to improve, and that makes him an even scarier threat for being the top pitcher as well as a top hitter in Major League Baseball in 2022. But for now, Shohei Ohtani comes in at number 2 on my list. Now, as we get into my number 1 pick, it is Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins. This may seem like a strange pick, but to me, I want my ace to be able to go deep into games, and no one did it better in 2022 than Sandy Alcantara. Sandy pitched 6 complete games in the major leagues in 2022 to the tune of an ERA of 2.88, a FIP of 2.99 in 228 2/3 innings, to go along with 207 strikeouts and ERA plus of 178. Again, league average is 100. 78 average points better was Sandy Alcantara than a league average pitcher in 2022. And the biggest number for me, and what makes it most solidifying as the number 1 pitcher in the game right now, is he had a Baseball Reference pitching WAR of 8. There's nobody better right now in going deep into games than Sandy Alcantara. And again, when you're looking at an ace, when you're looking at the number 1 pitcher in the game, you want a guy who's going to go out there, be able to limit damage, and give you a ton of innings. Being able to go out there and have a league best 228 2/3 innings in 2022 really, for me, solidified just how talented this player is. When you go back and you look at the way that the rest of these guys on this top 10 list, the rest of the way the pitchers in all of Major League Baseball played out in 2022, Sandy really solidified himself and separated himself in a tremendous way in terms of his ability to go out and pitch a ton of innings. Yes, we're going to have to see how he bounces back in 2023. But I think that looking at what he was capable of doing and what he can project to do in the upcoming season, to me, Sandy Alcantara is the number 1 pitcher in the game. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know who are your top 10 starting pitchers right now. To me, starting pitching and relief pitching are the hardest list to put together because there's just so many great opportunities, great players to pick from. But I want to hear from you. Let me know down in the comments, or you can find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, and we can keep the conversation rolling about the top 10 starting pitchers right now. If you want to show more support for us here at the Baseball Banter Broadcast, head over to baseballbanterbroadcast.com, our merchandise shop. We have a ton of promo codes you can use to save on any of our merchandise. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and the bell for post notifications each and every time we drop a new broadcast here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast, covering the latest news, notes, or my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.